I'll be talking about immunotherapy, the new tool to fight cancer, in next 10-12 minutes or so. These are my affiliations. So I will start with a case that is a 68 years non-smoker female. Now 68 years is not very old age, right? I think everyone will agree to that. If otherwise general condition is good, 68 is not an old age. Patient had dyspnea, chest pain, coughing and weight loss for about 2 months. And on scanning, she had mass in the lung with pleural effusion. 600 cc of fluid was drained and it was showing metastatic adenocarcinoma. She also had metastatic lesion in right fifth rib. Now, having a malignant pleural effusion in the case of lung cancer makes it stage 4 incurable malignancy. And many times in the evening, I have one more session about cancer is not cancer. I am going to elaborate on that. But right now, what I am going to elaborate that what is the proportion of early versus advanced lung cancer. So in my practice, what I see is stages 1 and 2, I see about 10% of the cases where I am going very aggressive to cure these patients. Stage 3, I am able to cure some of the patients, again 10% only, and almost 80% of my patients are coming in stage 4, where the intention of treatment is to increase the survival and improve the quality of life. Whether I can do that, do you believe that I can do that? These are the patients which we are going to discuss when we discuss immunotherapy. So for this patient who is having metastatic lung cancer, again like Abhinav, I will ask for raise of hands. How many of you believe that the survival is less than 6 months? Can I have the raise of hands? Thank you, very few. And how many of you believe the fourth one, survival is more than 24 months? Good. So in between is the answer of most of my attendees today. So treatment options. So surgery is not treatment option for this patient. So is not burns, that is radiation. What we are going to treat this patient is with poisons, with chemotherapy traditionally, right? So it's chemotherapy, but surgery and radiation have long been traditional treatment. They have plateaued out. We don't expect much of the improvement in surgery and radiation. What we see is systemic therapy. We don't like the term chemotherapy only. We like to use the term systemic therapy that reaches everywhere in the body. So if we look at chemotherapy, this is 2002 article. There were 4 different chemotherapy options for metastatic lung cancer, and with all of them, the survival was alike. None of them was superior to the other, and the survival was about 10 to 12 months. Median survival was about 10 to 12 months. It means only few patients were surviving beyond 12 months. So systemic therapies are cytotoxic chemotherapy, molecular targeted chemotherapy, hormonal therapy, immunotherapy, and few others. And we are going to discuss about immunotherapy in today's presentation. So how immunotherapy works in malignancy, or how it is working to prevent malignancy. So let us compare our human body with a corporation, an organization. So there is integrity of employee and the SOPs which are driving the organizations, and molecular makeup is driving the human body. QA, QC and audit is occurring in the organization. Likewise, DNA damage checkpoints. If they are occurring, the cell is made to undergo apoptosis or cell suicide. It cannot progress in the cell cycle, right? There are police comes in if there is any financial irregularity, and in body there is immune surveillance. Army comes in with NK cells, dendritic cells and T cells, and then there is some political interference so that this doesn't work, and so is checkpoints in immunity. Let me elaborate. So the first is on the left lower corner, the cancer cells are releasing some antigens which are picked up by dendritic cells or macrophages. They are being carried to the lymph nodes, and in the lymph nodes there are T cells. T cells are activated. The activated T cells are exiting the lymph node. They are entering the bloodstream, and through the chemotaxis they are reaching the tumor site. They are entering the tumors, and they are identifying the tumor cells, and they are killing the tumor cells. That is the normal immune cycle, but that's not happening when cancer occurs. Why? Because there are some checkpoints, and there are several checkpoints. We have been able to identify 2 of them. Look at the left upper corner, blue box, anti-CTLA4. CTLA4 is one checkpoint which is preventing the immune activation of the T cells. And look at the right lower blue box. PD1 and PDL1 are the two molecules which are preventing the immune attack by the T lymphocytes on the tumor cells. If we can circumvent these two, there are several which we have not been able to identify. If we are able to circumvent these inhibitions, the tumor cells will be attacked by the T cells and tumor will be eliminated. So how can we do that? So we have several drugs. At present what we have is CTLA4 and PD1, PDL1 blockers. There are many more coming in, and then there is something with dendritic cell as well as CAR T cell therapy. I will be happy to answer the questions on that. I am not going to discuss CAR T cell as well as dendritic cell today. So what happens when we treat the patients with this kind of drugs? Now, in the previous example of old lady, 68 years old, not old lady, with lung cancer which was metastatic, I said that chemotherapy is having 10 to 12 months of survival. We look at several molecular markers, and these markers are EGFR, ALK, ROS1, RET, and NTRK. And we also look at PDL1, that is the immune marker. So if all the markers are negative except for PDL1, we treat the patients with chemotherapy with immunotherapy. If the patient is treated only with chemotherapy, look at the red line, lower one, the average survival is about 11.3 months. And if you look at the green line, where immunotherapy and chemotherapy is being given, at the end of about 2 years, almost 60% of the patients are surviving. Right? So median survival is not reached because half of the patients have not died. So this is what happens when we give immunotherapy to the cancer which was once considered to be a bad cancer. There are other cancers where immunotherapy is effective. In addition to non-small cell lung cancer, immunotherapy is effective in small cell lung cancer, in head and neck cancer, in hepatocellular carcinoma. We just heard a wonderful lecture by Dr. Abhinav about fibrosis, and next to fibrosis is hepatocellular carcinoma. That's where the immunotherapy is working. Renal cell carcinoma, urinary bladder cancer, colon cancer, malignant melanoma, and immunotherapy is being tried out in a large number of other cancers. So what happens? What happens to the patient when they are treated with immunotherapy? This is the example of malignant melanoma. In first 12 months, many of the patients are dying. But if you look at the survival curve beyond 24 or 36 months, it is flat. It is flat. It's called tail end, kangaroo's tail. It is straight. So it means that beyond those patients who survive, beyond 24 to 36 months, they are not dying. And this is the data up to 10 years. So malignant melanoma, which is a deadly cancer with expected survival about 7 to 8 months only, when they are treated with ipilimumab, 20% of the patients are surviving beyond 10 years. Right? So we can boldly say that now with immunotherapy we can cure some of the metastatic patients, which was never possible about a decade back. So if we identify these two ovals, how the patients are surviving beyond 10 years, or how the patients are dying so early, then we can treat appropriate patients with immunotherapy so that we can optimize the result out of immunotherapy. Is it possible? Yes, we have some predictive biomarkers. So these are all putative biomarkers. Looking at that, we can identify that these are the patients who should be or should not be treated with immunotherapy. And the confirmed ones are these three: tumor mutation burden, TMB, microsatellite instability, MSI, and PDL1 expression by the tumor cell as well as the immune cells. How does it matter? So again, the same curve. If you look at the PDL1, more than 50%, look at the right lower corner, 75% of the patients are surviving beyond 24 years. 24 months. I hope 24 years. 24 months. So if we identify the correct patient, we can do better. So two other important things: toxicities and cost. None of the treatment available under this sun is without toxicities. And immune activation leads to a large number of toxicities, something like rheumatoid arthritis or systemic sclerosis. And it has the toxicity on practically every organ. But the intensity of this toxicity is mild. It's not very severe toxicity. We can manage this toxicity. And Cost, we have a large number of clinical trials. At present, it is very costly. But we had the trial of ipilimumab in lung cancer in 2009. We had the trial for durvalumab in bladder cancer in 2016, and we have a trial of durvalumab in lung cancer right now. So a large number of clinical trials are ongoing. We also have CAR T cell therapy, and the trials are going to start soon at our center. So hypothetically, look at the lowermost quadrant, that is chemotherapy. The next is targeted therapy. It is improving the survival to some extent. And the orange bar is immunotherapy. It doesn't affect in the initial part, but then it is curing some of the patients. What we are trying to do now is to combine immunotherapy with targeted therapy, where we are improving the survival of more patients and trying to cure more and more patients in metastatic stage 4 various cancers. So this is my last slide. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.